Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another one of my videos. Today we are going to use sublimation transfers to make paint party canvases. If you have been with my channel for a while, you might have seen the very first video that I did, and it was actually creating these paint party style canvases with sublimation transfers, and I was actually using a much smaller heat press. Let me turn my press on. And it was using a much smaller heat press, and I did 8 by 10. I believe we did 8 by 10 canvases. Well, I normally do the larger canvases, and I've done these for several years, and I thought I would take you along as I created some of the larger canvases. I want to say this particular size canvas I am doing today is a 12 by 16, and this is kind of what it looks like. Without further ado, we are going to create some of the larger paint canvases, paint party canvases. Okay, the first thing that I'm going to do is to kind of tell you how I show you what I do for the inside of the canvas when I press it. Because these canvases have about an inch in the inside of them where there is a gap, like here, right here. If you just try to press on this without putting anything on underneath, it kind of goes, it presses in, and you don't get a nice crisp, press. So what you want to do is put something inside of it. I've seen people put towels, books, and other things like that. For me, I just use foam. And this is the type of foam craft foam that you might use when you're maybe making for a cushion or something like that. I get it on the rolls, and I will put a link to the rolls that I buy. But the rolls that I buy, you can also buy, I want to say, at Hobby Lobby or even Walmart. Okay, what I did was I measured what the inside of the canvas is going to be, and I just use this little orange marker so that I can cut it. And I'm using these really long scissors. And all I'm going to do is simply cut so that I can have something to insert in the inside. Now, it doesn't have to be exact, and this cut can be a little on the rough side. It doesn't really matter. At this point, all you want to do is have something that you can kind of stuff down in there. So, and this is a piece of foam that I had stuffed down in my closet from even when I did the video 3 years ago. So it looks a little on the grungy side, but it's still going to work. Now what I'm going to do is just kind of trim off a little bit of this top right here, only because it has the color on it. And I used an acrylic paint marker for this to make my lines. And I don't know if once I apply heat, if it'll come off on the back of my on my canvas or not. So I just trimmed it off. It's not that big of a deal, because the whole purpose of this is just to have something to kind of press on. And actually, I could have just used the other side. But anyway, this is what I've done. This is a size that I have measured, and I think it's like a 10 by 14 to go inside of the canvases. These are the canvases that I'm going to be pressing. I bought these from Amazon. However, you can get these same canvases from Michael's, Hobby Lobby, I don't know, Walmart. They are just the simple pre-stretched canvases, art canvases. You do not have to have anything special. These particular canvases are cotton. Ordinarily, you would not sublimate on cotton because it would wash out. we are not worrying about this washing out because we're not going to wash these canvases. We're simply using these canvases for an outline so that we can paint. Once you put your paint on it, you're not going to have to worry about the actual transfer kind of coming off. You're actually painting over it, so you won't even see it, especially if you're using an acrylic paint. Okay, so here we are. This is my canvas. This is what I have cut to go inside, and see how that fits right there. Instead of just putting that down first, I think I'm going to put a little bit of paper in there just so it does not bleed through on my, I don't want it to bleed through on my canvas. Excuse me, I don't want it to bleed through on my foam because I'm going to use this foam over and over and over again. So this is just regular copy paper, and I'm just going to slide it down in here so that if I get some bleed through on my transfer, it's not going to affect my foam piece, because y'all, I will use this foam piece for a very, very long time. Okay, here it is, and all I did here is pressed it down. See, I didn't really do a whole lot, just pressed it down. And I probably could have cut it a little bit smaller because every time I lift my hands up, it wants to pop up. But anyway, here we are, and it is ready to place your transfer on top. Gonna go grab my transfer because I don't have it near me, and we will come back and start pressing. Okay, alrighty, I've got my transfer. The transfer that we're going to use today is this little transfer sheet, and this image is actually a coloring book image, and I will put a link to it below. It is a coloring book, I think, of like boho type images, and it has 240 images in it, so you can choose any of those to place on your canvases. When I first did my canvases 3 years ago, most of the images that I purchased were for paint parties. Now I literally just go through coloring books and on the online coloring books and find images that I like, and I use those. I use both Creative Fabrica, and I'm going to put a link there, and I also have a resource where you can create coloring pages from other images, and that's the one that I use a lot now because I can find an image that I like and then I can make it into a coloring page. So I'm going to link that too. Okay, so you see how it's going to fit on my canvas. So all I'm going to do is turn it over, and let's see. I want to make it even in here somehow. Make sure it's centered. On most of my other videos, I use that clear tape. For this one, I go ahead and use the blue tape, but if I had my bronze tape, I would use that too, but that's just not handy right now because this actually holds really, really well, and I am not worried about it tearing anything or adhering way more after leaving marks, I guess I should say, because some of the tapes will leave yellow or leave something kind of residue. I don't have to worry about it for this because all I'm doing is these canvases. And I will take a piece of butcher paper and lay it down on top. In the previous video, I would pre-press the canvas to kind of get the moisture and everything out, and I pressed at a higher temperature for a shorter period of time. This method I actually came across it by accident. I was pressing canvases and I did not pay attention to what I was doing. One, I started pressing at 330 degrees Fahrenheit, and then I realized I had not pre-pressed my images. So I said, woof, it's a little low, so let me hold it. Let me press a little bit longer than I normally would, and let's see if it's going to get all fuzzy and moisture spots and stuff like that. And to my surprise, it pressed really, really well. So I have adjusted my time and temp to a lower temperature and longer time, and I have not been pre-pressing. Now, if you try this method and you start getting like little clouds and it's, big areas where it looks kind of faded and stuff like that, you may want to pre-press because you just might have a lot of moisture in the air where you are, or humidity, and you may need to pre-press. But for me right now, I have not been pre-pressing these, and that has actually worked for me. So I am going to go ahead and press at 330 Fahrenheit at for 3 minutes, and I did not pre-press. So, and let's see, what am I trying to say? I'm using pressure. The pressure is right at 7 on this machine. So I would say this is like maybe an upper medium pressure. I don't think I want to go too hard on the pressure because sometimes, depending on these canvases, especially when you use the really cheap canvases, they can melt. And if they melt on just little small portions of it, you can take a little bit of white paint or a little bit of white gesso or something like that and fix it, because you can still use it. Ultimately, when you take these to a paint party, or you have one, or you sit down and paint it yourself, you are typically going to paint over the entire canvas. So those little imperfections will not be seen. So if you have tried the paint party canvases in the past using my other method, please make a note down below to let me know if you're going to try this, and to let me know how it works for you. But we're going to do 2 canvases today, and then and then we'll see how it goes. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop just for a second because we don't have to sit here for 3 minutes waiting on it to buzz. Alrighty, this has pressed for 3 minutes on 330 degrees Fahrenheit, and I am going to go ahead and move my press over. If you can see, I don't know if you can or not, but you can actually see the image, the sublimation images come through, and it's actually on my blowout paper. So anytime you see that, you know that you have a good transfer because the ink has actually come through the paper. Now, sometimes you won't see that depending on the type of paper that you're using. I am using the Epson paper that comes on the Epson roll because I am printing these on my Epson F570, and I'm using Epson ink. The paper is not the type of paper that's coated on the back, so you don't get the protection of not having to use blowout paper on that. But the paper is inexpensive, and I buy it by the roll. Okay. Okay. Let's see. What do you guys think? So if you would like to create your own artwork for your home or office, what better way to do it? And you can find just about any type of image that you want to create just by looking at your coloring books and your different online programs. If you don't have a sublimation printer, a lot of times you can order sublimation prints. Sometimes I offer them on my site. Sometimes they're available, and I'll put a link on my my Etsy shop. I think I have some transfers that I've already done. Occasionally I will do custom, but literally if you are in any craft group in your local community, you can probably reach out to a crafter that does sublimation and buy your sublimation transfers relatively cheaply locally. Okay, so this is one of our canvases. I'm going to pop out my foam, which doesn't have anything on it. I'm going to take out the papers, and you can't see it, but there is an image on here. So, yeah, I'm glad I put paper in there. Look at the back. Okay, guys, we're just going to do one more just to kind of show you. This is not going to be a very long video. So, let me grab my other canvas. Okay, put my paper down. I'm going to go ahead and add my foam again. And like I said, this is really an inexpensive foam. I think it's about maybe 3 feet that you get for maybe $16. And if you see over here, I don't know if you can see the wrinkles in the paper. That's the moisture from the project, and it's just being transferred from here to there. Okay. And this image has a little bit of grayscale in it, but I thought it would be kind of cool to do. It's part of the Cozy Comfort series coloring books, and I thought this would be fun. I'm actually going to do this one. So I wanted it to go all the way to the edge. Again, my tape. And honestly, 2 pieces is probably plenty of tape. Okay, remember this is 330 degrees for 3 minutes. You may need to test time and temperature based on the heat press that you are using. Now, I am able to do these large ones because I have a large heat press and I also have a large printer. But with a 15 by 15, you can certainly do an 8.5 by 11 or 8 by 10 or either an 12 by 11 by 14 size canvas very easily with some of the smaller presses. In my original video, I want to say I used a 9 by 12 press, so that was a small press. So we are going to go ahead and let this press, and then when we come back, we will be at the table. So I will kind of show you a few of the ones that I've done, and I hope this is a project that you find helpful. And if it is, please share, because I'd love to get a lot more people to look at this video now that I have some updated directions on here. Okay, I have brought the project back over to my desk. Let's see, I ended up moving it before I moved my camera before I was finished. So just to show you the reveal here, I just brought all the papers over here. Turn it over. And this is my new canvas. This is the one that I am going to do. I think it turned out really, really nicely. Now this one has some gray shading and stuff in it, so it's not as crisp as the other one, but it's not a big deal. Like I said, it will be painted over. This is, yeah, once you put your acrylic paint on it, the shading, you can determine how you want to paint that. My husband is really good at that, and so I've been learning, trying to figure out different techniques so my paintings are not, I guess, so flat where the images have no dimension or anything. But Anyway, that's just for another day. This is the final product. This is our comfy, cozy living room image. Move it over here. Move it. It'll fall over. Yep, it is. So I'm just going to set it here. This is our little boho image from a coloring page. This is also one that I did from a coloring page. And this is another one from a coloring page. Now this one is a big one. This is a 16 by 20. So it is a huge canvas. Imagine painting something like that and having it turn out really nice, and you can't paint or you can't draw. These are great, excuse me, if you don't draw freehand or paint freehand, you can have them and they will look really nice kind of when you're done. This is a smaller one that I did. Okay. And this is another one that I painted. I thought they turned out pretty good. So if you have enjoyed this video, please, please, please leave a comment and hit that like button. If you have not already subscribed, I would sure appreciate you doing that. And if you are watching from the television, next time you get to one of your devices, please feel free to come back and make a comment and like this video. It means a lot. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you on the next video.